Well, here we are with the start of our inspiration bite size when we are actually looking at what kingdom life is all about. And today we have a very special guest in Asha Masi, who is involved in so many things. I'm not too sure we're actually going to get through everything in 20 minutes, but she really is an ideal person for us to start with our inspiration bite size, because if you Google her, you come up with lots of photographs, lots of things that she's involved with. And I thought she'd be the ideal person for us to start with our Inspiration Bite Size. So Asha, welcome to Inspiration Bite Size. It's Asha Masi, and just a few moments ago before I started recording, you were telling me about the meaning of your surname. Would you like to say that again?
Yes, firstly, I want to say thank you, Mike, for giving me the opportunity to come to your Zoom meeting and to actually express the work that I do and the work that, to my knowledge, that every Christian should do as well. So my name is Asha Masi, and Masih stands for Messiah. So like I explained, it's an identity for the Asian Christians, like the Sikhs have Singh and Kaur. So as soon as you read the surname, you automatically know they're Sikh, and the Muslims have Ali and Muhammad, and you know that. So the Asian Christians, when they've got a surname as Masih, you automatically know that they're Asian Christians.
That's something I've learned already today, so that's a great start. I never knew that. You think I should have known that, but I didn't. But for the benefit of those watching and those who may be listening, who are you? Where do you come from? Tell us a bit about your family history.
Right, okay. My family's originated from Punjab, North Punjab, from Jalandhar. My dad served in the army in India, so he came over in the 1940s to build Britain up, because as everyone's aware, in the Second World War, they were in need of army people or men to build the economy up and to get Britain started again. So no one sponsored my dad. It was the British Army who sponsored the Indian Army to come over and help out. So my dad was one of them, so he served in the army as well. So I'm proud of my father. My mum and my parents are both resting in peace. They came over, and then the rest of the family came over as well.
That's great. Going to talk a little bit about your work now. When I was younger, one thing I always wanted was a chemistry set, and I was always disappointed I never had one as a birthday present or as a Christmas present. And my son, who's 14, actually bought me a chemistry set last year. So that's really all I know about chemistry. I've opened the box, and but you're a biochemist for the NHS. So would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, I'm proud to work for the NHS, especially during this COVID. So we've been highly appreciated. So that's really great, because it's not just the NHS staff. I feel that the staff, the front workers within the retail industry, they should be applauded as well, because it's every member of the society that's working at the front. They are facing this COVID war. Myself, I'm a biomedical lab assistant at UHCW, and we actually book in COVID test, and we test and diagnose all the samples that come to us within the Coventry, Rugby, Warwick, and the local chemist tests that come to us, the blood tests that come to us.
So I take it you're very, very busy at the moment.
Yes, we're very busy at the moment, yes, especially with this pandemic going through, but we've got a lot of staff on sick as well. As you can be aware that if you come in contact with somebody with coronavirus, then the other person has to go off 2 weeks sick as well. So there is a lot of short staff within every workplace, not just the NHS.
Well, we'll certainly be praying for you and for your colleagues in that area. And yeah, thank you so much for what you're doing and what you've done. Something else we'd all be interested to hear about is we're based in the southwest of England, so a lot of our church members won't know so much about the Midlands. But Andy Street is your directly elected mayor, and
Yes.
You work closely with him because you are the deputy chair of diverse communities. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I actually.
What's involved in that?
Right. Okay. So. I'm a local candidate for the local elections. They were supposed to happen this year, but due to the COVID-19, they've been postponed till next year. So I'm standing as a local candidate for the Conservative Party, and I'm on Andy Street's Faith Leaders Steering Group. So what Andy Street did was he selected community leaders within the West Midlands, and we sit at the round table and we actually tell Andy what our needs are. Although we're Christians or Sikhs, we still have our cultural needs as well. So Andy's absolutely fantastic. He listens, and we did a conference going back about 4 years ago when Andy just got elected, and it was us, the people around the table, that who selected the topics, like for the homeless, mental health, going out and reaching to the diverse communities. So all those topics what Andy had picked up and he actually pursued, that was the roundtable meeting which I was a part of as well. So I'm very pleased, and I'm glad that God is using me as his vessel.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So, I mean, I'm a counsellor, which you may or may not know. And one of the things we often get accused of is we set up these sort of groups, but it never actually fulfills any purpose. But do you think that the group that has been set up has been very useful, just for community interaction?
Yes, it is, because within that group, at least Andy's aware, and when we go back to our own communities within our own towns, we've got this leadership role, and then we go back and tell them the information. Look, this is what we've told Andy, this is what the team is doing, and then we wait for the action. And if we can't see the action, as you're aware, you're a counsellor, sometimes it may take years, but at least we're there. And the most important thing is we're actually voicing out to the person who actually can make the change. That's the important thing.
I suddenly thought, as I asked that question, I'm glad you responded that way, because I suddenly thought if you said, no, it's a complete waste of time.
No.
That was good. Okay, you're also involved, and I think you run it, or maybe set it up, the International Asian Christians Fund. Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, the Asian Christian Front, my husband is actually a founder, and we, going back about 15 to 20 years ago, we actually realized, well, we realized before as well, because what the Asian community is, we're just a voiceless community in the UK and around the world. Because as you're aware, Mike, Christianity is the most persecuted religion all over the world. And because we haven't got people in high position decision-making jobs, that we're not making that much of a difference. Yes, we talk, and I welcome the Archbishop Arturo report, but having said that, we haven't seen no action. So we're having all these big meetings, but where's the action? We can't see it. And by seeing things around us and people coming up to us, we formed this International Asian Christian Front. What we do is we fight against Christian persecutions, not just the Asians, but all over the world, people in Nigeria, Thailand, everywhere. I mean, I can give you an example. There's over 12,000 Thailand Christians who fled from Pakistan, Christians, and they're locked away in prisons there in a small cell with their families, and girls are being used wrongly, sex slaves and everything, and there's no voice for them. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to lobby with the government through my links, because I'm a part of that as with the local grounds, that look, you know, we need to do something, because we've opened borders for other faiths, but we can't see anything for the Christians, never mind Asian Christians, for any Christians. And I always question that whenever I go to any meetings, because in Christ we're all brothers and sisters, regardless of their color. We should see our Christian brothers and sisters from China, Africa, India, Pakistan, Thailand, everyone, the West, giving them a hand, which not many are doing at the moment.
I think that's certainly something you and I can have a conversation about separately and see where we can help you out on that one, because that's something we should all be involved with, and certainly support you in that area. Something we have in common is we both attended and graduated the Impact course.
Yes.
I don't know when you graduated, but I graduated
2019.
Oh, you're fairly recent. I was 2016. Yes. So why did you do the course? Yeah, just tell us why you did the course.
Why I did the course was because I actually, before I became a biomedical lab assistant, I'm also a phlebotomist as well. So I used to take bloods out, and then I got a job in the labs, which was absolutely fantastic, because I just love serving the community. And this way I feel that I'm being a part of the COVID-19, as well as before COVID-19, helping the community. And I was actually working in a practice surgery, and I came across some people. I was a practice supervisor there, and I came across some people, some work colleagues, that they just didn't like the Christian they didn't like me because of my faith, and I couldn't understand it at first, Mike, because I've been brought up here. I was a child when I came from India. I was a toddler, and according to me, uh, in faith, we're all brothers and sisters. We love because Jesus is love, and the only way we show love is when you love thy neighbor as yourself. But this particular person, he had no grudges against the other women who were from different faiths. But because I was a Christian, he wouldn't take orders from me, and he used to say, "Oh, who are you?" And he called me untouchable. And that was the first time I heard that word, and I thought, wow, what's that? So I went home and I asked my dad. My dad was alive then, and I said, "Look, this person at work, Dad, is calling me untouchable, and I've never heard of this word." And my dad just kind of just laughed, and he goes, "Just ignore him and it'll be all right." And I said, "No, Dad, I want to know, who are we?" Because in front of everyone, he goes, "You're untouchable. I don't want to work from you." And as you can understand, Mike, a child that's been brought up here, never come across this word or this kind of suppressed persecution, living in UK, in a Christian country, I was under shock myself. And then things just escalated because I won't mention what religion because it's not nice. So things just escalated. He started to take over. He wouldn't take orders from me, and from my supervisory role, I got taken down to just a receptionist, and basically they were taking me down from my role, showing me that who's superior. And I thought, oh gosh, this isn't right. So the only way I could turn was to Christ. And I thought, I've never heard of Christian persecution in England. I know there's persecution going abroad, but what's happening? So it came to the point where I was just going into work, and my work colleagues, they weren't speaking to me. I got all my work taken, demoted me. That was the word I was looking for, demoted from my post. I was just sitting there. As a practice supervisor, I used to be dealing with all the wage slips and everything and passing them on to the manager, but all that work got taken away from me only because of my faith. And I was told that, oh, you live in the West, and why don't you dress Western, and why don't you drink alcohol? And I said, look, I'm a Christian, but I've still got my Asian culture in me. Yes, we're in a British country, and yes, we do dress up Western, but that doesn't mean that you have to show me, well, why don't you drink? So like when reps used to come to the surgery, they used to say, like they used to bring chocolates or something once, and they just used to push them to me. They used to say, oh, Asha will take them. So they used to take the mick out of me within the Western culture. And I thought, oh gosh, what's going on? So it came to the stage where they wanted just to get rid of me, and they wanted an excuse so I would have an argument or be on my phone. But my God is so good. There was this gentleman, he warned me. He goes, look, they're targeting you because you're a Christian. And he goes, you probably know that by now. And I said, yes. He goes, just don't do anything wrong, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to sack you for doing anything wrong, and they're just keeping an eye on you. They've demoted you on purpose so you feel low down and you leave work, or you just splash out kind of thing. And I thought, okay, so I kept my cool. And then so because I knew what they were up to, my God is so good. So because I knew what they were up to, I just hanged on, and I used to just go upstairs in my office. I had nothing to do, just a few prescriptions, and that's it. All the admin work was taken away from me. Even up to then, that when I used to send letters out as a practice supervisor, I used to have my name at the bottom, practice supervisor Asha Masi, could you please come and see your GP, your blood results are abnormal? And they said, no, you can't put your name down. I thought, oh, wow, something's going on. So there was a spiritual fight going on, Mike. But like I said, God is good. So God showed his way to me, and it came to a point where I got so depressed, and I felt really lonely at my workplace, and even at home. When I'd come home, I'd just be really upset and thinking, oh gosh, what am I going to do if I don't have a job? And all these things would come into my mind. But then something really wonderful happened in that surgery. The two doctors had a dispute between each other, and the surgery got shut down. So where I was being suppressed, God shut that place down. And my faith even became even more strong. I said, God, you are looking after me. Like he's promised that I will never leave you or forsake you. He will hold me through the hard times. And that's how I got out that surgery. And then, like the Bible states, that my plans, our human plans, are small and God's plans are big. And I was going to end up being a biomedical lab assistant. And I'm speaking to you, Mike, and I speak to Andy Street, speak to the MPs. So that was just the beginning. And because I was suppressed, I've got that pain in me that I should stand for my Christian brothers and sisters that who are being suppressed in UK. So I received many emails, Mike. Many people come to me and tell me their stories. So I take them up with the MPs as well. But what's happening is they do listen to me, but they are afraid to voice out as well, some of them, because obviously it's about vote bank as well. So, but I won't stop, because I believe that God has got me through this persecution and stood me up, and I will use my voice for my brothers and sisters. And when I get elected by the grace of God as a councillor, I will serve the community, I will serve the ward, because as a leader, you have to serve everybody, but I will serve my Christian community as well.
That's good. So you went on the political impact course, and for those who don't know much about the course or anything about the course, it trains you in all sorts of things. Too many things to mention, really. So you went on the course, you graduated. Did you graduate in Geneva?
Yes, I did. So,
what was the highlight of the course?
The highlights was actually going to I think it was St. Peter's Church, where you actually received the graduation, and then we went to the Geneva UN, and that was a highlight as well. And then me and my husband stayed 2 days extra, so the team came back, and I spent another 2 days, and I felt really happy, and I felt that God was educating me. And because of that suppressed persecution, I felt I had to go to this course, the CCF course, which gave me the strength, which gave me the knowledge. So when I do speak to people like yourselves or the MPs or any people from the church, because sometimes church people think politics and Christianity shouldn't be in one platform, but Jesus was a politician, as you're aware. He was himself, because he stood for righteous. And if you're going to stand for righteous, you have to know the wrong and the right, and to stand up for the people. So CCF taught me a great deal. They taught me how to speak to the politicians, to the local residents, gave me the experience, gave me the Bible verses. We had lectures, like, as you probably know, expert lecturers giving us their testimonies and helping us, and it was just great mixing with. And the best thing about CCF is that we're all Christians, so we can say what we want. We don't have to be afraid of voicing our opinion that this faith is doing this faith is doing that. And I recommend CCF for everyone, because it's an impact course and it fills you with knowledge of Christianity in politics.
And about other walks of life as well.
Okay. The other walks of life as well.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do at the end of this is I'm going to put some photographs up of to follow so people you can see what you do. But a lot of the photographs, I say some photographs you sent through to me already, and some that I've Googled, have you serving food. So
yes.
You're obviously involved in, well, looking at the size of the portions of food you're serving, you're involved in quite a lot of community work. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Yes, well, serving food. We used to serve food in India every week. We'd send money from our charity organisation, International Asian Christian Fund, which my husband is a founder, and this is solely from our own wages. We haven't got any organisation that's given us any money. So, like the Bible states, that work with your own hands and then give to the needy, and your hands will be blessed. Blessed are the hands who give to the needy. So we do that every week. We've been doing that for years, and we've got a college in India, my husband's. We give free education to the deprived children, because through this ISCF organisation, we promote education especially for the Christians as well, or the non-Christians, because education is the break chain for poverty. Otherwise, you're just stay in that vicious poverty circle from children to grandparents. They're just there. So we're trying to educate and break that chain of poverty for the poor community in India. That's been going on, and through COVID, we started a new project we're going to village, and we're giving out food, not just to the Christian people, to all the people in the village every month, for a month. So it lasts a month. So in this pandemic time, I feel that God is using me and my husband to serve the community and to give food to the needy.
Okay, so on that point, I know you've got something to say about a WhatsApp group that you started during COVID.
Yes, right. Through COVID, people around the world, or even in UK, as you're aware, Mike, people have got language problems, and people have got problems. Even the older generations, they don't know how to use iPhones, and so they've got this simple WhatsApp. And I thought, okay, so during the pandemic, I started a WhatsApp for the Asian Christians, just women to start with. And I thought, okay, I'll start this group off. And then I used to phone them and WhatsApp them and just make small videos of myself reading the Bible and sending them verses and asking them if they need anything, so that loneliness chain broke for them. And it turned out to be really God's blessing. So God's blessed it and it made it grow. So through this, the loneliness dropped. People started to tell word by mouth that, look, there's this WhatsApp group. It's called Yesu Davera, which means Garden of Christ, like the Gethsemane. So I visited Israel and I had this sort of vision that, you know, if I do something, I'm going to name it where people can gather. Like you started before the interview, that church is not just a building, church is when people get together. So this WhatsApp group, a Garden of Jesus, I've got over about 90 to 100 people on it from all parts, from all over the world now. And all these women who are using this, even in UK, they're women that children have left, women that are lonely, women that are abused are using this, and women that across the world who are sitting in villages who's got no means of Facebook or anything, and the only communication they've got with the outside world is through this WhatsApp. So with this WhatsApp, they're connected to women from Australia, Canada, America, and the prayer chain, it just goes on, because when we go to sleep, Mike, the India people get up and they start praying. And then when they go to sleep, the Australia and the American people get up. So it's a constant chain of prayers. And within this WhatsApp group, we celebrate birthdays. So people put their pictures on, they make videos, they sing songs. And if there's something sad going on, like someone's lost their loved ones, we all start praying. And we, not the women around the world won't help them financially, but me and my husband will stand up and help them financially, because people haven't got money to give.
That's true.
And I feel fortunate that God has blessed me, that I'm still in a job. My husband's self-employed, so he's at home at the moment, because we've got a phone mobile shop. But whatever I can give, I do give from my NHS wages to the needy. And having said that, it's a perfect example when some people wait, like, for them to make it, as they say, don't they? That, oh, we'll get a good job, we'll get a house, and then we'll start doing the charity work. But the Bible clearly states that the widow gave whatever she can. So this was a challenge for me, that even though we're struggling for having financial difficulties, but I'm still giving.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, actually. As I said, I knew we'd be a bit pushed for time, but you're involved in so many things in the community. But how do you think, very briefly, how do you think that Jesus helps you day to day?
Yeah, I love Jesus, you know that, Mike, and Jesus helps me day to day. I just want to give a little testimony. Me and my husband both had COVID. My husband and I ended up in hospital. My husband had both collapsed lungs, so he was near death just about 6 to 8 weeks ago. And I could remember the time, David, where, sorry, Mike, I could remember the time where I was in my bedroom and the ambulance came. Obviously, my two children, Martina and Marcus, they escaped it. So God is good. So they didn't catch COVID, although they were living in a COVID, well, I would say COVID house, because COVID must have been all over the house, because as a family, but God protected them with their mighty hand. And I can remember through the window lifting the net up. I'm thinking, are you going to come back? because COVID, when it attacks your lungs, it comes to take you. And I feel so grateful that it's a testimony that God, and with everyone's prayers, that we both pulled through. And here am I sitting in front of you, praising God for his mighty hand, that he saved us.
That's awesome. Absolutely fantastic. So getting right near the end now, do you have a favourite hymn, a favourite song?
Yes, I definitely do, Mike. I have Amazing Grace. And why I've loved that since my school days is, at that time, I didn't have a world view, because growing up, you just sing a hymn and you go to church regular. But having grown up and faced all the problems like everybody else did, Jesus has faced problems as well. Obviously, he was crucified, and on the third day he rose again. But the words that really catch me is that we're saved by grace. And we are saved by grace because we don't have to pay any money. It's by his grace that we're saved, and love is free. And then also the other word that really touches my heart is that I was blind, now I can see. So not meaning blind as you can't see physically, it's meaning spiritually blind. To me, this is my own point of view, that I was blind, but now I can see. I can see the world through Jesus. And I want to be a shadow of Jesus, which the Bible clearly states that. In the Bible, it states that if you love me so much, follow my Father's commands. So being blind and being can see, it's when you're spiritually blessed and you can hear, you can see, even though you know that people are against you. And I just want to quick give an example that when I was reading the Bible, and I realized that on the Last Supper, Jesus gave a perfect example of being humble and serving. And he even washed Judas's feet. So Jesus knew beforehand the persecution that was going to come to him, but he knelt down and set an example to me and to you and to the rest of the world. Even though you know the person who's going to talk behind you or persecute you, still be humble to him. So that really impacted my heart, and I'm seeing a world from a different part. I was blind and now I can see.
Mm. That's truly awesome. I mean, it's one of those things, Asha, I was just thinking about this morning, what was going to be the pivotal point for us to discuss, and there's quite a few points for us to discuss. But you finish off with that wonderful testimony at the end of you and your husband having COVID, and how the power of God, the power of Jesus came into your lives. So I think that's something we really got to give thanks for, and thank you for the day. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. We're certainly going to sort of deliberate and be praying into what you've shared, and we'll certainly be praying for you as you go forward. So
Thank you.
just like to say thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mike. God bless.